Hey, Corey, you live right now?
The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR-TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. NASCAR's yearly trip to California usually comes without much differences than usual, but this year's a little bit different. With the new update and the new news of NASCAR selling some land to convert this 2-mile speedway into a half-mile bull ring, we celebrate what will be the last time that the NASCAR stock cars and vehicles will take to the speedway here in Fontana. Luckily, we have it on the digital service here on iRacing, and that we will be presenting here tonight. Welcome everyone to PTR TV to the 100% Cup Series. Not a new series to the channel if you remember us from last year, but covering their sub-series, their Division 2 campaign. Of course, this was where the drivers will make their names and figure out if they can run with the big boys on Saturday nights for the 100% races. So we will be doing an abbreviated version of that here this evening. Of course, it is by myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, doing the one-man show here this evening. So I will do the best I can to make sure that it doesn't get too tame. But I think these guys will make sure that we have a great night of racing here, because I was looking at the driver lineup here, and we have a stacked field here tonight from Fontana. We have essentially a full grid of cars here, 40 plus that will be taking to the grid here today, and we are currently in qualifying right now. So these drivers on track trying to get their runs in and seeing where they can start for the what will be 150 laps here. I had to make sure what my math was there to get around the Auto Club Speedway. So we'll put the top ticker on the screen here, and we'll see who can come across and take the pole position here for tonight's race. We don't have a title on this race perhaps, but just race number 2. Looks like Daniel Fields on the provisional pole. Well, there goes Carl Dodson up there with a 39.505, so that'll be top of the board thus far. We'll see who else on track right now. Wayne Grassi, in third. Ryan Samuelson in fourth. So everyone coming at the same time here. Should be a one and done for most. This Patrick Gitter, he's going to be in the 9th spot. Some big names that you will remember and probably note from other series here. Ashton Crowder, I believe, is taking some time here this evening, and then some guys will be present from the 100% Cup Series on Saturdays. We do have some double duty drivers, if you will, here. Tanner Marty, he's actually going to be featured in another PTR TV race that you will see on Monday with the SSRL series. So we'll see here as some of these drivers running their times late. If you do follow the 100% Cup Series on Saturday nights, you would know that qualifying usually you don't see it because it is done on Fridays to set the field, but this being Division 2, qualifying is attached to the session. So that is why we do have these hot laps. John Broussard there in the 15th spot. Randy Drumhiller, thought we were going to catch his lap. Looks like he just pulled off in that 44 machine. He will be in the 11th position. Trying to see if there's anybody else on track that we can follow for a hot lap. Austin Story in that 26 machine. As you can see, 23. Now this will be, folks, a common contention here this evening, was made note by admin. So typically the Division 2 series is not, from an administrative side, not taken to the level of detail as the big series on Saturdays. But now that we are going to be covering it, they are going to be, kind of paying a little bit more mind to it, not just a series in which drivers will get permission for the big series, but actually kind of getting a crown for this series. So in the course of that, we are going to be having some numbers getting reassigned and drivers having to change their paint scheme. So you will see numbers on the overlays that do not match the liveries, the paint schemes that you see. So I'm going to get caught off guard, and if I call off numbers incorrectly, well, I do have an excuse. So you'll have to bear with me on that. But we're coming to the end of hot laps here. So again, if it is your first time to PTR TV, don't make it your last, because we will be here on Friday nights for the Division 2 series for the foreseeable future, at the very least through Atlanta, most likely longer than that, but we'll see what happens. But what is happening right now is we are getting ready to go down trackside, and let's go ahead and do that and give you a starting lineup here today for the 100% Cup Series Division 2 at the Auto Club Speedway. On tonight's pole with a lap time of 39.446 goes to Robert Anderson in the 5 machine, so congratulations go to him on that lap. Carl Dodson to the outside of the front row. Mark Padgett in third. Ryan Samuelson going to be in the 4th position. Christopher Hammond in 5th with Patrick Gitter in 6th. 42 has a very successful history, that number, at this track. Derek Heitman in 7th. Ashton Crowder, you might remember him from the Coke Series, in 8th. Austin Story and Brandon Pierce, you'll see him on Saturday nights as well. He's going to be rolling off in 10th. Outside of our top 10, we find Daniel Fields and Xander Short, along with J.D. Baker in 13th. Randy Drumhiller in 14th. Jeffrey Souza was quick in practice, couldn't quite back it up in qualifying, 15th. Dalton Mobley in 16th. Wayne Grassi in 17th. And Jason Baker in 18th. In 19th, we have John Broussard and then Tanner Marty rounding out our top 20. We'll kind of quickly go through this. William Brown, 21st. Pat Boucher, 22nd. Jason Taylor, 23rd. Leo Bonacasa in 24th. Zach Swicegood in 25th. Alex Princeton in 26th. Don Collio in 28th. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sure I'll get corrected. Austin Rhodes in 29th. Rounding out our top 30, John Delaney. What is he doing in here? Because you know he is the season champion from the 100% Cup Series last season, if words come out of my mouth. Lucas Nilges in 31st. Kevin Steele, one of the admin here, had a great run at Daytona in the Cup Series last week until he got taken out, 32nd. Jared Bundy, I wonder if there's any relation to Al, in 33rd. Corey Mott in 34th. Bryson Alexander, 35th. Nick Pressey in 36th. Alex Russell, Matt DeCiani, Adam Benefield, the golfer, Kyle Ammon in 40th, and there are a couple stragglers. DeMaris is in the admin trailer. Cody Bird, why do you have a bag on your head? And then riding out the field is Ken Ron. So that is our grid here today. Going to have one quick pace lap, so we will have to get ready very quickly. We'll bring up some weather conditions here from Fontana. Of which we have 65 in the air, 70 track, so relatively cool track conditions, which is quite comparable to what it will be this week in the real world. They're expecting some cool and damp conditions here in Fontana. Our keys to the race, sponsored by, still looking for a sponsor. That did not carry over, so ignore that, because I don't know why that didn't carry over. But our race details by Sunshine Boy on Twitch. All right, so I had all that stuff set and then it reverted, but we will be, we do have one fast repair. We have 5 sets of tires, and we do, of course, have the pressure of trying to get your name well known so that you can carry over into the Big Boy Series, but not that this is any less. There's a stout field here, so we'll still have an exciting night of action. It'll be a tough race, and we'll see who can carry out on top on one of the, probably the last race on the official 2-mile speedway. The pace car has pulled into the pit lane. We're going to wait for Robert Isson. He's going to go very early in the box. Geico Zone not active here today. He's going to get on that cloud pedal. Green, green, green. We're racing on Fontana. You can see the multi-grooves already coming into play here at Fontana that the 2-mile track does have. You will be seeing, upon updates done to the service mid last year, we now have the ability to run all over this 2-mile track. You can see here that we have gone single file for the most part, but we'll see entering turn number 1 and 2 where these guys do fan out to. They have a battle for second already fanning out. That's Ryan Samuelson in the 81 looking to the inside of Carl Dodson. Dodson in the 5, but he is registered as the 23. Again, we will have the mismatches, so we'll all figure it out together. The outside lane having that momentum does benefit the 23 for the time being. The only thing with the high groove that you will have to pay attention to is it is more prone to tire wear due to the fact there is less rubber up there and the increased load with the increased speeds. These drivers will be having to pay attention to those tires. Of course, we have 5 sets for the race, so you'd think that would be a lot, but they will go very quickly here over the course of a race. 88 machine going to the outside of the track right now. I think, again, this is going to get a little bit difficult, folks, but I'm going to make the best. That's Christopher Hammond. He has the 88, but he's actually the 25. Ashton Crowder dropping spots there. That's Derek Heitman trying to make a pass on him, and I think we may have a battle shaping up for the lead here as Dodson has closed in on Anderson. They're kind of snaking down that front straightaway, trying to get the runs that they can. Heading into turn number 1, here comes Dodson for the lead. Looks like Anderson's just going to go to the high side, not really fight him too hard here. Lap number 4 on the boards. First lead change under green flag conditions. We'll see if Anderson does try to go and get a crossover pass. He'll get the slipstream of the draft down the back straightaway, but he's going to back off into 3. Looks like Ryan Samuelson looked like he was going to take a move there, but not quite the situation here. Everyone kind of sticking to the bottom of the track, at least at that point on the track. Side by side, a few rows back. That's Ashton Crowder in the 2 to the inside. That's Brandon Pierce in the 38. That's his Saturday ride, but it's his Friday ride. So again, the numbers do not quite match, but we know that scheme from our Saturday night broadcast on 3Y TV. I'll be in the booth tomorrow night, actually, covering that with Andre Grandebusch here on 3Y TV. So you'll want to check us out over there. But Pierce will get into that 8th spot. Kind of everyone separated by about a 10th or so up front. And again, you can see on the inside of the track there, everybody running the bottom through 1 through 3 and 4 rather. That is going to be more of a trend that you will notice. 1 and 2 seems a little bit more conducive to running up the track. Can't quite explain why. You know, no track is symmetrical. Every track does have its nuances, so for some reason, with the way things are, you will see more guys running the outside in 1 and 2 than you will in 3 and 4. Going back, finding some active battles. Ooh, that is Xander Short there. He was kind of squirrely there off a 2. And maybe gave a little shot to the back bumper to Dalton Mobley. Not quite sure, but Mobley washed up the track. This is for the top 10 right now. They're going to door slam each other. Door slam down. That's not side draft, and that's actual contact being emitted right there. And they're still door slamming each other down the front straightaway, rather. Not really creating that respect very early in the race, but maybe it's all in good fun as long as there's no damage. Of course, on the internet, sometimes things do happen that are unexpected, but everybody does seem to carry on with no issues. Going back to the front, 3-car battle has come to fruition here. As try to get the numbers right here. I think it's Gitter, Samuelson, and they are both closing in on Robert Anderson, who, remember, our pole sitter, led the first few laps, is dropping back and losing some time, but that may be intentional as the race does continue. May be intentional in him trying to save the tires, predicting a longer run. Of course, we will have our stage on lap 35 and lap 70, so the stage won't be that, you won't have a full fuel run, which is usually upwards about 45 to 50 laps here at Auto Club. Big gaggle of vehicles just outside of the top 10. Now the multi-lines are taking effect. Wayne Grassy in the yellow car to the inside, Ashton Crowder up to the top, and there's going to be some drafting help here down the front straightaway. 2 by 2 these drivers are for positions. Heading into corner number 1, lane changes in effect. You can see someone there going all the way to the top. Oh, who is that person? That is it said 21. I don't know the exact car it was. I think that may be who is that? That's JD Baker, who had a significant charge there using the outside in 1 and 2. You can see in 3 and 4, not quite the same. He has to run lower on the track. Oh, who's that 69 car? That's William Brown. He had a surge there off of 3 and 4. Now he's going to prove me wrong and say that the outside does work, and he's going to have a massive run that he's going to use off that outside. Going to take it down the front straightaway into turn number 1 and 2. But everybody's going to take his line away. You can see just in front, that was JD Baker took the line away. They're going to be 3, almost 4 wide for a brief moment. This is all just outside the top 10. Nothing really going on up front to deal with right now. Dalton Mobley to the inside, nearly 3 wide with Hammond there. Again, Brown really dusting off the high groove for these guys. Whoa, some tight course racing there with Grassi there, nearly a 3 wide. Grassi didn't get off a 4, lost his momentum. He's going to drop back quite a ways, lost about 2-3 spots down the straightaway that time. See Brandon Pierce working his way up, but that outside seems to be coming in, and once it comes in, once that outside becomes prevalent, it really does become harder to make that inside work. So that's why you want to keep the right front on the car. Keep that right front on, then you will still have the ability to drive down the inside on the longer run. If you use the right front too early, you're going to be confined basically to just running the top of the racetrack. So that's why that is important. You can still see some side-by-side mid-pack as Grassi dropping back, and Jason Baker, you know, he's a competitive one on Saturdays, and Daniel Field. There was a little talk earlier of the best driver pictures, and I think Daniel Field wanted to be a part of the best of those, and you can make your opinions on that there. Him in the 66 back in the 19th spot. Something I want to check on is John Delaney. Remember, our champion from the 100% Cup Series in 2022 has worked his way up to the 25th position, so a slow methodical climb for Delaney, only from the 30th spot, not really making too much headway. May have a battle for the lead shaping back up here. There was a gaggle going on back there, but Robert Anderson, remember, he had the pole, led a few laps, dropped back, and looks like he is working his way back to the bumper of our leader. Again, that could just be saving the tires, and you know, we're late enough, right around lap 15 or so. That's when it is very well known who saved their tires and who didn't. You can see here on the long shot all the different lanes down the front straightaway, and everyone fanning out, making their various passing attempts. Anderson going to the middle of the track. He'll get a good run down the back. See, he'll close in. Now what is going to happen in 3 and 4? They're going to switch lanes. They're going to stay put. Looks like everyone's going to fight for the bottom, but that's going to be 3rd place Patrick Gitter, who's going to run a little bit higher. And then just behind that, I think that was Mark Padgett running the highest, but everyone's still kind of situated on those bottom 2 or 3 lanes. Brandon Pierce really making some headway up right now in that 38, well, /17 machine. Making some headway from that 10th spot. But here we go, side by side. Anderson looking to the inside, and look at the huge run there from Patrick Gitter. He's going to give a shove to Dodson there to keep him in the lead. So Anderson's going to go from going for the lead to dropping back to the 3rd position there with that great run that what is deemed the 42 machine got there off of turn number 2. So now Anderson's going to have to, you know, time it a little bit differently now, knowing that if you go to the inside, it may be a negative situation for you. You're going to have to really take that into consideration. And then in the meanwhile, Ryan Samuelson dusting the top off there as this run does continue. He's going to get a good run there and bring Mark Padgett into the party. Top 5 starting to close in here. Is there 3 wide, just a little bit further back here, heads back to about the 20th position. That's the 91 machine of Leo Bonacasa, who's around and spins in 3. That's going to cause the first caution of the race. I don't think he made any contact with anybody, but kudos for catching that live, because that's just kind of luck of the draw that happened. But let's go back on replay and try to sort out what happened there. We'll go from our chopper cam. It's really the best camera to use here at Auto Club with the amount of real estate we have. You can see that white and red car on the top of the track, top of 3 wide. Now this, I think it was the 17. We'll get one more look at it from a slightly different perspective. 12 gave the 17 a bump, which slightly pushed that 17 into the left rear of the 91 of Bonacasa, and luckily he did a spin but did not have any contact with anybody through that, so that car should be fine. We'll have to burn a set of Dr. Feelgoods but he will be just fine in the context of getting damage and being able to continue. So back to live footage. And everybody, whoa, and this is where the strategy comes in. No, I just have to double check here. The tire limit is 5, so I'm not quite sure the verbiage. Sometimes 5 sets means you have 5 sets to change. Sometimes people refer it to you have 4 to change and 1 on the car equals 5. So either way, they have 4, maybe 5 sets of tires, depending on the verbiage. Did not get to clarify that pre-session. But people choosing to stay out and save that set, but not all, as we do go back and we will find some drivers on pit road. Looks like the first to pit was Ashton Crowder, which will relegate him back to the 27th position. Now we do have the stage in the 15 laps, so one would infer that these drivers are kind of making this as a decision to get stage points and maybe omitting overall track position. That's the best bet at this point, because if you stay out right now, actually let me back that train up a little bit. If you stay out right now, if you're someone like Dodson or Gitter, maybe anyone in the top 10, you may be safe from getting passed by those fresh tires. So it's going to be interesting. I do expect maybe an Ashton Crowder maybe to get in the top 10. I hope we don't have incident with the different closing rates that we'll have. But it's going to be interesting because those who pitted this time are likely to stay out and have that track position for stage 2, but they're going to have 15 lap older tires, which may come at a serious detriment to them. So we'll figure out what happens there, but we're going to get doubled up, stacked up, and ready for a restart here. First one of the evening. And we'll have, 16 laps or so to decide stage 1. Dodson takes the inside lane. That puts Gitter on the top, which should be fine. As long as I think on these older tires, you're going to want to be on the outside on the restart. That's my personal opinion, but I am also about a third of the skill of these drivers, and I always make the wrong decision. So my take may not be the one that you want to follow, but I would probably want to be on the top entering 1 on these older tires. Because a lot of times you don't know how older tires will react to heat cycle. Usually, in my experience, tightens the car up, but not always the case. And for those who are in the mid-teens, definitely probably going to be a scary situation. As you know, you're going to have those fighter pilots on the fresh tires behind them getting ready to make something happen. But Barney has the green flag in hand. Pace car is going to take that hard left. We're going to get ready for a restart. Dodson's going to get us underway. Enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air. And let's see them fan out into turn number 1. And fan out they did. Certainly they're through 1 and 2, through 3 and 4, doing just the same. It'll be interesting to see Ashton Crowder first on the tires, and some smoke there just behind him. Ashton Crowder started 27th, hasn't made any headway off of 1 lap. So again, we're kind of seeing here what 15, 20 lap old tires mean in the grand scheme of things. So we'll keep an eye on that, and you can do as well on the ticker. But up front, I thought the outside was going to be where you wanted to be right off the get-go, but those tires cooled off a little bit, kind of gave some bite back to the inside lane here on lap number 21. Here comes Pat Gitter in the 42. He is closing in, and then In the fourth spot, Ryan Samuelson going to the outside. He's going to try to get around Robert Anderson doing that long way, but look at Brandon Pierce working his way into the top 5. He's trying to get underneath car around. Trying to figure out who that is. That's Christopher Hammond trying to get a hold of him here. And he has... We'll try to go back on replay, figure out what happened there. Somebody spun out. That's the, just going back here. Yep, it was, so we have a two-part incident here. See on screen, you can see the 02 and the 88 making contact. 02 into the fence, 88 saves the car, but ends up going into the pits. So that will likely be a penalty of sorts. I'm not sure if admin will clear it, but let's try to figure out what happened to the 02, which shouldn't be too hard. I think his number matches, so I should be able to find him with relative ease. I think we have it on screen right here. You can see he got loose into the fence. There goes the 88. Actually, I guess it just was the 88. So actually, Paget continued on just fine. But back to live footage. And battle heating up here, and Brandon Pierce still trying to work on Ryan Samuelson there, but couldn't quite get the bite. But here comes Gitter right to the rear deck lid of Carl Dodson. They're going to change lines here. Gitter's going to go to the top of the track in the center of 1 and 2 and see what kind of run he can get on corner exit. He's going to get a really good run, and Dodson got loose. Now, what's he going to do? Is he going to stay? He's going to give him a shot down the back straightaway. I don't think he wants to use the bottom. I think he wants to be right up on the wall, so he would rather just give him the shot and stay in line and run the line he prefers, and we are under yellow flag. That is not the stage. I'm trying to figure out what happened here. Again, part of the one-man show, sometimes it's a little difficult to find certain things here. Nothing immediately stuck out to me. Usually pretty good at sifting through the data and figuring out what happened. I will take about 10 seconds. I don't want to waste too much time here. And try to see if I can find something. I think I may have come up with something here down the back straightaway. Yep, there it is. All right, we'll get a better look at that now that we know exactly what it is. Kind of just luck of the draw that I pulled that together there, so we'll take it. 32 machine. Trying to make sure it was the 32, because again, I don't have all the car numbers don't match, so it is actually really hard for me to make full sense of some of these replays. But we'll just take it from the long shot here. I think that the 51 of Jason Baker got turned there. Maybe that's the 32 to the inside. So just kind of tight quarters racing on the back straightaway. That'll certainly bring out a caution flag. So now we are on our second yellow of the race. And Ashton Crowder, remember, he is the first one on freshies, fresh tires, and he's only worked his way up to the 18th position, so that'll be kind of a breath of fresh air for those drivers who will have to stay out on the stage, knowing that they're, especially with all these yellow flag laps, not putting that full speed load on, that they may be okay. While we have a brief moment here, again, solo broadcast tonight, so it may take a little bit of side-by-side breaks here under yellow flag. So we will be right back with you for the restart. Please stay with us. And we're back here on PTR TV, getting ready for the restart here after our second caution of the race. Dodson and Gitter going to be on the front row to get us down 8 laps to go until the stage. Pace car has already pulled in. Let's wait for Dodson to get into the restart zone. He's going to actually go early. Restart zones are not enabled. It's on the leader's discretion. He's going to use that discretion very early in the zone. Get us back underway. Gitter should be able to fall in the second. Anderson going to try to battle and take him side by side into one. Let's let him fan out and see what happens. Anderson losing some time there on the inside of the racetrack. Samuelson's going to get into third, but Anderson's going to try to go back to the bottom. Brandon Pierce having that phenomenal run. He's going to try to look to the second lane. Thought he was going to try to get to the outside of Anderson. Anderson's going to get loose off of 4. That's going to cost him some more, and they're going to be 3 wide just behind him. That's the 6 of John Delaney getting up there. Delaney's still on older tires too, so he's finally made a charge, gotten through the carnage, and made his way up there. 26 machine. I don't know if I have that right there. That's Derek Heitman right there. John Broussard. 19 machine. That's Alexander Russell. So Delaney using 3 wide on the outside, third lane there. He's going to take advantage of it. And then here comes Ashton Crowder just in the middle of this huge gaggle of cars. The 2. He's on fresh tires here. They're door to door. Coming off of turn number 4 here, nearly 3 wide grassy, and Crowder had some tight quarters racing there. Coming down the front straightaway here, taking 5 laps to go for the stage. 3 wide attempt, Crowder in the middle, 24 to the outside, that's Zach Swicegood, and fanning out 3, 4, 5 wide perhaps for a brief moment there off the corner. Grassy really struggling there off the corner. Meanwhile, up front, Brandon Pierce trying to go for second. He's to the inside, and it looks like Gitter kind of shut the door on him up top. That's Samuelson trying to make the top work on Anderson, who's trying to get that time back if he can. But I tell you, Pierce is really getting good runs and taking full advantage of that inside. He can maybe try to side draft him and pull him and gain that second spot. Let's see what he can do in 1 and 2. He's going to take it all the way to the bottom of the track with Gitter taking it all the way up to the fence. Now that fence might be working. Is Pierce going to shut the door? Yes, he is. And let's see what Gitter does. Is he going to fall back in line? Nope. Pierce is actually going to give him the top of the racetrack. Nope, he's going for the lead, Brandon Pierce. Here he comes through 3 and 4. Ooh, he's going to go up the track. Nearly doored him. Dodson had to give him some room, but look behind. Look at John Delaney. Where did he come from? He's closing in. Gitter there. Here we come. We have a huge gaggle for the lead entering the stage. Pierce going all the way down to the apron there. Pierce now he's going for the lead. Now he's going to have to retain it. Here comes the 21, or rather the 42. Here comes a 3 wide attempt. That's Adam Benefiel. Where did he come from? He's in the second spot from the 39th position, and just verifying here on the stat book, not pitted. So this is just taking better care of the tires. Maybe those heat cycles working to his advantage. Built for the long run. Adam Benefiel going for the race lead here on lap 32, closing in on the end of the stage. Man, he's going to be door to door. Dodson trying to hang on, trying to pull the side draft, probably asking for a little bit of help, but Gitter's going to go to the bottom and give Benefiel a push. Is that going to work? Does the bottom have enough? Does Benefiel have enough tires to clear the pass on the inside? The answer is yes. Look at how much time Dodson lost there off of 1 and 2 using that outside lane. So really the tires must be shot on Dodson's machine. Dodson getting a push from Delaney in the 6. Delaney's going to try to look low. I thought Dodson kind of shut the door on him. That's the 2 of Ashton Crowder trying to rig it around the Rosie on the top of the racetrack. And let's see what time he can gain up there. He's going to run out of space because everyone is just completely gridlocked up here. I thought he looked 4 wide for a brief moment. He's given a big push there on the top to Alexander Russell, who's now in the second spot. Dodson falling back. Delaney to the inside, 3 wide on the bottom. Coming to 2 to go. Benefiel pulling up there, 4 wide, 4 abreast coming off of turn number 2 here. Delaney all the way to the bottom of the 4 wide. And oh no, that's a wreck right there. What happened? And that's Brandon Pierce. No, Brandon had a great run. We're still green. through all of that, we didn't get sideways enough. We'll maybe take a look at that on the stage breaks. We're coming to 2 to go. We're coming to 1 to go even. Ashton Crowder to the second spot. I mean, there's a long shot here. Remember, he's on freshies. Benefield's not. There's a long shot. He may be able to get him here. Let's see what happens. Now, Alexander Russell and Carl Dodson just behind. Now, here comes on the outside is Crowder in the 2 machine, half second back. What kind of run is he going to get off of 2? Not nearly good enough, but the thing for Crowder is he does have to accommodate the fact that he does need to keep these tires for another run, so doesn't want to fully take the feel good off of him, but he's going to keep running that high side, 4/10 back. And Adam Benefield, again, from the 39th position, is going to come off of 4 and win the stage. The stage will close in a moment. There may be a slight delay. Of course, we do have to wait for at least the top 10. And nope, admin right on it there. Going to throw the stage caution. Adam Benefield gets it. And amazing bit of driving, going from last to first in 35 laps. Now, as promised, I do want to go back and see what happened on the back straightaway there to Brandon Pierce, if I can. Just got to go back a little bit and find it. So just bear with me, folks, because again, one person here, only one computer. I don't want to take up too much time. You know, I can't find it, and we got some other stuff to look at. So it basically what happened was on the straightaway. It's kind of similar to one of the wrecks we had before. We kind of caught a little bit of it live, where people just changing lanes and kind of cutting rear quarter panels off there, and unfortunately causing that to have a wreck. But these next-gen cars are kind of tanks, and they are able to deal with the damage, at least as it currently stands on the iRacing service. So we will kind of assume that all is good there. We are waiting for the pace car, and we are catching it here through 3 and 4. And we should have a varying pit strategy here. As, again, we have about a split field of maybe about 12 to 13 drivers pitted on that second caution. And then everybody else chose to stay out. So those who stayed out will come to the pits. And let's see what Ashton Crowder... If Ashton Crowder pits, I will be absolutely astonished. And he's going to pit. He's going to burn a second set of tires. Remember, I think we had... So we must have 5 sets. So there's a chance it has 4 out if anybody's in chat and they can confirm whether it's 4 changeable sets or 5 changeable sets. I know the verbiage between different people can sometimes be different on that. So, but either way, second set of tires burnt by Crowder. He wants to get on the same strategy as everybody else, and choosing to come into the pits. And we'll see if anybody did stay out. No, I don't see anybody on the racetrack right now. So everybody did come to the attention of their crews. And Robert Anderson dropping back there, losing some significant time there from that #1 pit stall. Now Jeffrey Souza, pulling up the details here, you can see he only had a 7-second pit stop, which is usually conducive of a fuel only. So that very well may be the case for him. He's going to be the leader right now. And then we have Corey Mott, who did go through the pits, but did not actually make a stop in his box. Whether he missed it or not, it looks like he may be coming to the attention of his crew this time by. Yes, Corey is. So sometimes it is hard. I can say from experience that I had a league race myself at Daytona this past week, and I missed my pit stall under green. One of the stupidest decisions I ever did, stupidest mistakes I ever made, but you know, it does happen, especially in a fully populated pit road. Graphic settings and frame rates and level of detail and just flat, just not paying attention. You know, it's very easy to miss your box here on a full pit road, so maybe that happened. But either way, Jeffrey Souza is going to be the leader. Now, just going back to Adam Benefiel, who won the stage, he is going to fall back to the 31st position, right? Rather, 31st. That's the number in Sim. He's going to fall back to the 13th position. He's registered as the 31 in Sim, and he's in 13th. So, dyslexia took over on both accounts there. But Jeffrey Souza in the 96, actually lives about a half hour away from me, as a matter of fact, so kind of a small world there. As a Massachusetts native, as I am, driving wicked fast and have it yad. But up front, Alexander Russell, if you watched last week's Daytona 500 on 3Y TV, had a fabulous run. And here he is on that outside lane in that JDR Graphics Camaro. But let's see what Jeffrey Souza does. What kind of speed does he have in that number 14 Ford? He hasn't had clean air all day. Well, now he's going to have it. Let's see what he can do with it. Stage number 2 getting ready to be underway here, entering the restart zone. Let's see when Souza's going to get us on the loud pedal. He's going to go later in the box, and that's going to kind of wad them up just a little bit. We're going to have a really interesting battle into corner number 1. Fanning out, entering corner number 1 as usual here. Going down the back straightaway. Let's see what we got going on. Up front, Souza pulls away by about a quarter of a second. Again, everybody on fresh tires. Everybody chose to stay out that last time, but Ashton Crowder in that second spot, he has burned 2 sets of tires. Let's see if you're an Ashton Crowder fan, you're going to be hoping for a long green flag run. If we do have a string of cautions, 10-15 lap runs, he may be in a little bit of a pickle. But one thing we did notice is the tire wear was not as bad as you may have thought. He didn't gain as many spots on the first 15 lap stint as we would have thought. So may be advantageous if that does happen later in the run, but definitely don't want to have a worse tire situation if you can avoid it. But John Delaney trying to get some time back in that, I believe it's McConey's setup shop Camaro, that number 6 machine, of course, last season's champion, and I probably already repeated myself about 5 times on that, but he's trying to get to the inside of the 7 of Kevin Steele. Remember, Kevin Steele was in a position to win Daytona last week. I think he led the most laps in the 500, but strategy just did not work his way towards the end of the race. But here we come up front. Xander Short in the Die-Hard Mustang. He's on the top of the track. He's outside of Ashton Crowder. He's going to get that run. He's going to go past one up high. And he's going to try to pass the other down low. He's going to go side by side with them into turn number 3. And the inside, typically the preferred line on these newer tires rather, but that does change after about 15 laps. These guys will want to go to the top of the track, as this is a side-by-side battle for the lead. You can see the 3 wide behind Steele up top. And I think that was Russell in the middle. Couldn't quite see who was in the bottom, but we are interrupted again by a yellow flag. Again, I'm looking at my analytics here, which I'm usually really good at figuring out what the cause of the caution was. I'm usually really good at it. But for some reason, I am not finding any significant incident here. Looking through, nobody is slow. Nobody seems damaged. So I'm really struggling in this instance to find the cause of that caution. Typically, you know, from a broadcast perspective, we have some different systems in the back that will give us some kind of back-end telemetry as to, you know, if incidents were caused, or we can just tell if somebody is significantly slower than their competitors. And in this instance, really not finding out what happened there. But one thing that I think I want to do, if I can, is we'll see who we can talk to here. I'm going to try and see who we have. We don't have a full lineup of people as we would on Saturdays, but we still have a fair amount. Just going to try to grab Adam Benefield, but we don't have him. But let's see who we have. I think we have Xander Short, so we'll grab him just for a moment. Xander, Corey up in the booth. You got me, bud?
Yes, sir. What's up?
All right, so good start to the race for you. Started 12th and through the stage and different strategies. Have a fast car. You find yourself up in the lead. How you feeling up there, man?
I'm going to have to make a few more adjustments if we really want to be competitive towards the end. I don't really have that great of a long run car right now, but like I said, we're just going to have to make a few adjustments on it, figure it out, but happy we got the lead right now. We can just see how the rest of it goes. I'm down a set of tires, but we'll be all right. Should be.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was watching Ashton on the first run when he pitted and ended up coming back in for that second set, but it didn't seem like he got through the field as fast as I would have thought. Was that surprising to you, or do you really think that's going to be a big hindrance to you later in the race?
I don't think it should be. If it goes green, it won't be as bad, but if we get a late race caution, we'll be hurting without that extra set like everybody else has.
All right, well, for your sake, we'll hope it goes green. You can make those changes. I'll let you get back at it, man. Thank you.
All right. See you, man.
That was Xander Short there. So you can see he's slightly worried about the situation that is presented, but you never know what's exactly going to happen in these situations. You may have that long green run where those tires don't come into effect, or we may have, those very ill-timed 15-20 lap cautions that really throw that extra set of tires at the top of the importance scale there. But we'll see what happens. Crowder back to third. We're about 5 laps in, 7 laps even in since the last stop, so probably in about 3 to 4 laps I think we're going to start seeing that line re-migrate back to the top of the speedway. So for this next restart, I don't have a name for it. I used to call it Feel the Thunder. I know some people call it various things. Crank it up in the real world. We're gonna turn the engine. We're gonna crank the engine volume up loud for about 2 laps. Whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. But we'll do that for this restart. Again, call it whatever you want. I don't have a name for it. I used to call it Feel the Thunder. I don't know if you like that. If you like Crank It Up and we just want to knock off the real world, loud volume laps, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But let's get the ticker back on the screen for you. And I think we had a 3 wide there for about 5th spot. That's the 19, Alex Russell on the bottom. John Delaney in the middle up onto the top of the track. I believe that's Ryan Samuelson. While that fizzles out side by side for the 2nd spot here. Let's get it, the ticker out of the way. Actually, it's for the 3rd spot. For the 2nd spot, Heitman all the way down to the bottom of the track with that is Jeffrey Sues. Remember, he started the restart up front, and now he is slowly dropping back. Xander Short still leading. Remember, he didn't have that long run confidence, but he's getting a lead for the time being. Ashton Crowder slightly dropping back there. The 19 of Russell to the inside. Again, I think this is that time in the run where that outside starts to come in. Delaney's really starting to pinch down the 19 of Russell, so I think Delaney should get the run and eventually clear on that outside lane. And he will do just that. You can see that we're still right on top of each other, kind of scrolling back through the field here to different people. You can see Brandon Pierce all the way back to the 14th spot after that little incident on the back straightaway. And he's in are we nearly 4 abreast down the straightaway? Yes, we are. For a brief moment there, kind of situated ourselves out there, but some tight quarters racing for a brief moment. Robert Anderson, remember, he was up there early in the race. He finds himself relegated back to the 16th position. Anderson having led 3 laps from the pole position. But really, really rough back straightaway here at Fontana. Of course, that is the reason that they are repaving this track, or reconfiguring it, because the track would be due for a repave, as we are on the original pavement from 1997. As we really wadded up there off of 4, and just everyone, there's just so much going on, really hard to pinpoint where we want to look, but everyone changing lanes. Grassy looking to the bottom of Crowder here, and then going all the way to the top. Who's that kind of rim riding up there? I think that's the 69. He was doing it earlier, William Brown. He was up there against the fence right behind Kevin Steele down the back straightaway there. You can see all the bumping there. That's where the back straightaway does start to really start to degrade. And look at the different moves there. 53 of Broussard had to hop on the brakes there through the center of the corner, as Steele didn't get a good run, but Steele's going to have Brown to his outside. We're going to be, again, pace lap formation. This is about 10th through 20th, and we're still basically completely pace lap formation. This is great stuff. And of course, racing till did I say the stage was on lap 35? Why did I keep saying that? The stage was on, no, oh my god. Stage was on 35. Here I am looking at numbers, and I'm looking at the numbers from last week. So yes, the stage was on lap 35, as Corey confuses himself here trying to look at too many numbers as a solo person. We're going to be racing to lap 70. That's what I was trying to get to here. So right around where William Brown is right now, that would be the final stage point. So that 69 car, rather, now Adam Benefield, remember, he went from 39th to the stage win, and he's starting to make his headway up there. He's in the 83 car right now. Yep, 35 and 70. Yeah, for some reason I was looking at the announcements from the Daytona 500 and was confusing them with what is actually happening right now. So we have 17 laps left, but I think we have a battle for the lead. Derek Heitman to the outside of Xander Short. Look at Samuelson with the run. That's shades of Kyle Busch a few years ago. Oh no, contact there. They're going to be wadding up leaders. Top 3 wadding up in front of the field here. Is everybody else going to be able to get by? Looks like we're going to have everybody getting by relatively okay using the inside of the track. That camera's not going to help us out, but tough racing, tough deal. We'll see how much of a tank these cars are. That's Xander down there to the inside grass there. I don't know if he has enough car to get himself going, but let's get a better look at that. I think we'll use our chopper cam, which again is our Fontana camera of choice there. Weird shadow issue there, 3 and 4. Leaders are 3 wide. That's Samuelson there on the top of the track. We'll go on board here with him. I think that'll help us out. If I can find him here. Let's see, on board with Samuelson. Now he's on the top of the racetrack right now, and he just got a little bit loose there, and then they just kind of plinkoed off each other. And then here we come onto the front straightaway, and you can see here on the long shot there were a couple people. The 25 goes around, Samuelson of course, and I think somebody all the way to the top there. There was perhaps Heitman, orange car down there to the inside. So definitely caused a little bit more carnage than originally anticipated, but back to live footage. for the record, we wanted to interview Adam Benefiel, but I don't see him here. So I don't know if he's in a different... Oh, there he is. I will have to interview him because... I don't... Right, if we don't get an Adam interview, green flag interview. Oh, you could come into the booth and take care of that yourself, my friend. I am not doing a green flag interview unless I've had expressed written consent. But all the meanwhile, John Delaney has managed to take the lead. But due to popular demand, I think I am going to grab Mr. Benefiel, our stage winner here. Adam, Corey up in the booth. You got me, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so you basically went last to first there in the first stage one to get yourself that stage. Well, to get yourself the stage win here. How's that car feeling, man? I know it's been crazy out there with this pack racer.
The car feels good. We got tagged right there on that wreck on the front straightaway, and we just got turned, and then I thought we was gonna be fine, and then somebody came through and we got hit pretty dang good. And but I mean the car's feels pretty good, especially the deeper we go into we get into a run.
Yeah, I know obviously I mean these next gen cars are kind of like tanks with the damage model, but I know obviously you'll still get what you get. But if you learn anything that you can carry over into the big race tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason why we're out here running it. There's a couple of things I've learned. I think it'll help for tomorrow. Just really trying not to show everything we got for tonight, but we'll keep doing what we're doing. I think we got to come back down. It's over penalty now because I entered a closed pit, so we'll have to battle back.
I hope I don't take blame for that, man. I'll let you get back at it, man. Good luck.
You don't bother me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you can see Adam did get tagged in that. I don't see any overly visible damage, but it does happen, and hopefully he doesn't go a lap down due to a iRacing penalty of sorts, but it may happen. But John Delaney has found himself up front, which is usually not what the rest of the field likes to see, because usually when he gets up front, he doesn't relinquish it. But we have some very strong cars here. Ashton Crowder in second. Russell hasn't had this good a track position as of this race yet, but we're 20 laps in to the stint here. So these are going to be some old tires, oldest tires we've had on a restart. Let's see what happens as Delaney gets us in the Geico restart zone. He's going to get on that green flag underway here, get on the loud pedal. No wheel spin there, which is a good sign from everybody as we dive off into corner number one. And you could already see the top of the track working there. Look at Jeffrey Souza on the top of Russell there. Russell had to really check up there off of the corner, just because that outside on these older tires, that's where you want to be, is on the top of the racetrack, nearly 4 wide. That's Grassy all the way to the bottom of the track. Took a look, contact there. Grassy makes contact with Dodson, bumping and banging, beating doors through 3 and 4 as everyone going to get situated. Anderson goes to the top of the track, had to back off, avoid the wall there. Anderson almost got into Baker, the 51. Kudos to the iRacing new damage model, allowing us to beat doors like that in the center of the corner, because normally we would not be able to do that. So they're fanning out there as John Delaney running the bottom of the track, Ashton Crowder running in the middle, Jeffrey Souza running on the top. Gitter there in the 42 kind of running right in the middle as well of this, but here comes Ashton Crowder on the top of the track with that run off of 2. He's going to head down the back straightaway, have a full head of steam, and they're going to be door to door entering 3. But look at the varying lanes there. Samuelson running all the way to the top of the track. Big slider there from Gitter trying to clear Delaney there. Didn't quite work. He said he's going to stay on the top of the track. Where is Souza going to go? Where is that drafting help going to go? William Brown, I mean, he's been running that wall line, the Kyle Larson. Well, actually, I don't even want to call it the Kyle Larson line anymore because he really doesn't run it anymore. We'll call it probably the Tyler Reddick line all the way against the fence there. Look at that run he gets off at 2. Where is he going to go with it? He's going to go into the back bumper. Jeffrey Souza, got to be careful, especially on that bumpy section. Kind of got him into the wall there. You saw the sparks fly there as he kind of got loose into the fence there at the end of the back straightaway. No harm, no damage, but definitely worth noting. Dodson struggling there on the inside, and Russell gets the run off the top, but has nowhere to go with it. He's going to, again, surge that energy right to the back of Jeffrey Souza as Ashton Crowder trying to hang on Patrick Gitter. But Gitter is going to go to the top of the track. Crowder is going to go to the bottom. Let's see how they meet off of the corner here. From our blimp cam down the Mac straightaway, here's that huge run from Gitter. Where is he going to go with it? Is he going to stay in line? I don't think they want to go to the bottom anymore. And that's why he's going to go to the top through 3 and 4. 3 and 4 on the top hasn't been as advantageous. Can he keep a right rear quarter panel? No, missed it by a whisker, but he's going to cross him over, try to side draft, pull up door to door down the straightaway, and look at them snaking, fanning up down the straightaway. Nearly some contact. We've adored each other a lot over the course of this race, and we've seen it work out in different ways. Crowder's going to go all the way up to the fence. That's going to give Gitter the lead, at least temporarily, but is he going to shut the door? Yes, he is. He shut it, left it open, shut it again, but here comes Crowder back to the bottom of the crossover, and then Dodson behind Dodson trying to figure out where to go. Now they're all going to run the bottom of the track. You can see Samuelson running the wall in the background, but they're all going to go back to the bottom. Here comes Gitter with the crossover off of 4, but nope. Door is going to get shut. Not enough of a run. Crowder is going to be blocking the lanes, and you can see they're on the long shot. Kind of have a lineup of cars running the wall there, almost Daytona-esque with that, how perfectly that draft was in the moment. And look at Souza all the way nearly in the fence. Are we 4 wide? We were briefly 4 wide, and we made some contact. Couldn't quite tell who that was. I think that may have been the 53 machine of John Broussard involved in that, but we have been dooring each other like a short track. I know we're headed to be a short track in 2 years, but we're racing like it in moments here. Great, great stuff here as we close in on, what would it be, 7 to go in the stage. Dodson to the inside of the track, underneath Gitter, who may have burned off the tires through all that aggressive racing here as we close in on both the stage and the halfway point in tonight's race. Gitter trying to give that big push to Dodson. I don't know if Dodson has the tires left, in all honesty. Racing as hard as they are, you can see here going down through 3 and 4. The one thing all these drivers will have to their benefit is as we elapse more time here in tonight's race, we will create more shadows. The track should start to slowly cool off over the course of the evening. Look at that run Dodson had off 4 down the straightaway. He's going to clear him for the moment. Is he going to clear him overall? He's not going to do that, and now he's going to potentially lose a spot. Nope. Gitter's going to give him a push. Gitter's going to, he saw he didn't have a run. He's going to give it right back to him. Now what's going to happen in 3? This is where the bottom does typically prevail, is through 3 and 4. But it looks like on these older tires, these are the oldest tires we've had all race. And now that outside's hanging on, so Crowder hangs on again. And look at Gitter. Gitter is really trying to make Dodson get something here. He's going to take another stab at it to the inside of the track, and you might be able to clear, but look at that run right at the center of the corner. That's where Crowder surges on that outside lane. And again, this is coming to the stage on lap 70, so this is for the playoff point. These are for the 10 stage points. So that's why everyone is fighting so hard, and you can see Crowder running the bottom and Dodson running in the middle, still side by side just behind that. Delaney, who, remember, he let us down, wasn't able to stay there. He's in that 4th spot, still right in the middle of this. And look at Robert Anderson, remember our pole sitter. He's got himself back in the mix here. He dropped back. John Broussard, we haven't talked about him up front. Here he is in this lead battle. I almost want to call it a lead draft, but he's in this lead battle. Alex Russell, he's been mixing in there, but he's going to fight to the outside. John Delaney starting to surge here towards the end of the stage. Maybe he was sandbagging, trying to save the tires while it didn't really matter. Now he's trying to use them all up. To the inside is Delaney. Some contact nearly between the 51 of Baker and Dodson. Baker really started to wash up the track. I see Dodson's had some contact. Delaney's going to have to get in line right in front of Dodson. Dodson not going to give him the push. He's going to look to the inside as the caution will wave. And we certainly know what caused it this time. 66 and the 46, rather the 66 and somebody else who had a T-bone there. So let's cue up the replay. That was Daniel Fields in the 66. And I think it's a classic incident that we've seen many a time. That's the 21 on the outside. And that 21, I'm trying to see if it actually was the 20. No, it was a 28 of Lucas Nilges. If I am pronouncing that right, not quite sure, but took our best stab at it. See, he's running there on the top of the track, and that's Fields in the 66. Can't quite tell if he was trying to clear himself or he just ran himself out of room. Now, if you are Nilges in the 28, I don't really think you got too much actual damage from that. Goodness, with the way that the modeling does happen. But I have to imagine that will conclude the stage here this evening. I don't think we'll get to racing. I know admin is in chat. If I am wrong on that, please correct me. But I don't think we're going to be able to get this back going. We're on 68. We're taking 69, and we're taking then So this should be the stage. And we do have someone in chat. Kelton Wimmer rooting for the 69 machine, so you'll have had a good time watching that, because William Brown has been fast in this race, although he has fallen back, and if something happened we did miss it. But everybody coming down pit road here, which is to be expected. Kevin Steele staying on track. And that mysterious caution, we had J.D. Baker, wheel shut off. Technical issue, it happens. I have personally had some serious issues lately with technical issues. And I had a race freeze on me on VR, just completely freeze on me at Daytona. Luckily I was at the end of the pack, but you know, it does happen, and it's scary when it does, because everyone blames you and thinks you don't know how to drive, when in actuality you didn't have control of your vehicle. So unfortunately, that happened for JD, and he is currently 42nd last on the pylon. But Kevin Steele, remember last week's Daytona, not winner, but I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, he lost it in a photo finish. I mean, my memory really struggles to go back that far, but if memory serves, he lost it in a photo finish at Daytona. But he's up front right now on older tires with Pat Mouche in the second spot. And then Daniel Fields, who was involved in that wreck and did stay out, but was allowed to remain in his position by iRacing race control, so I'm sure he's not complaining on that. Ashton Crowder first. He isn't, rather, Derek Heitman in fourth, and then Ashton Crowder in fifth. Worth noting, Ashton Crowder is on his third set of tires, I do believe. There may have been a caution that he took fuel only that I didn't see, but I'm assuming that he's on his third set of tires, so he's going to really have to watch that. And somebody just pulled over and stopped. That is Xander Short. I'm not sure if he had a EOL penalty there or something, but he just flat stopped on the front straightaway, for whatever the reason may be. So just kind of giving a brief summary of where we stand right now in tonight's race as we close in on the halfway point in just a matter of a few laps. I'm not quite sure what the stage situation is. Admin may be able to chime in chat, because I do know sometimes they will assess the stage points at the caution if the caution ended the stage, or sometimes they will count it on the lap. So I'm assuming the stage was ended on lap 68. But regardless of that, J.D. Baker out of the race in 42nd. Ryan Samuelson out in 41st. Adam Benefield, we just talked to him. It looks as though he has retired. So that will be 3 drivers out of the race. And everybody else, less Christopher Hammond, everybody else is on the lead lap. So currently big field of guys all on the lead lap. And we'll see what happens here as we are on 1 to go. We did confirm that was the end of the stage. So Kevin Steele, not the stage winner. Of course, the stage winner will have been the leader at the caution flag, but be interesting to see how it does work out. With Steele, we have seen older tires not be total bricks. I mean, they're not going to hang on. I mean, they're going to drop back, but they haven't been total bricks. But it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do. Probably hoping for a caution, you know, that 10, 15, 20 lap caution where they can reset. I think that's probably their hope, because if this does go green, they're going to be in a precarious position in terms of having all of that lost pace. But everybody will still need one more trip to pit road. That is a certainty. Green flag back in the air. So to get a little bit of a break there, just grab a water, folks. Sorry about that, but green flag back in the air. Steele is going to go to the outside of the racetrack and block the run by Boucher. Boucher is going to have a huge surge there from Gitter, who's been really good at pushing at this point in the race. And here he comes to the outside of the track, and we know these newer tires like to be right on the bottom, but Steele is going to kind of block that run. Nearly a bit of contact there, but let's go back and kind of sift through, because the best thing about Auto Club is the restarts and watching them fan out here through the center of the corners. And you can see just that. Steele kind of running that third lane, but that's what you do. I'm having to kind of remember, and I trained myself to remember that he is running on older tires, so his car is going to prefer to run that middle groove. But here comes Gitter to the bottom of the track. Again, Gitter on newer tires, as Pat Mouchet, he is in that 17. He is already dropping quite significantly with Crowder to his inside. Now the 77 of Dalton Mobley doesn't really want to give him a push to Mouchet, but he's not really going to have a choice in the matter, as Kevin Steele tried to hang on to the lead, but that will be a short-lived battle, as Gitter in the 21, I think the first time he has led today in the 21. John Delaney next on the list to be passed by to be passing Kevin Steele. Didn't quite enunciate that quite well, but Steele is going to get surpassed by John Delaney, so dropping back at a slower rate than Mouchet, who's already dropping back to the end of the top 10. Dotson super loose there through the center of the corner, luckily to retain control of the car, but will lose a couple positions there. Jason Taylor, don't think we talked about him. He's up in the top 10 now, running in the 7th spot. Good bit of driving by him. Again, last stage, sometimes these guys will start to make those adjustments, and 2, 3, 4 wide racing at times we've seen, and we'll kind of go back and give some love to the guys in the back of the pack. I know I haven't had the camera on them. I usually like to. I always like to give some attention to those in the back of the pack and late mid-20s, because they're all racing hard too, and they don't always get the attention they deserve. You can see some good racing here. Jeffrey Souza, he's been up front, 66 of fields. He was in that incident. We have Adam Benefield, who Must have had some short-term connectivity issues, but he is back. Jared Bundy, DL Lemon, Kyle Ammon, who's a regular in the 100% Cup Series, Ken Ron, and Randy Drumhiller. Some of these guys here in the back of the pack. Corey Mott. Cody Bird, I just want to bring up his picture again just because he has a bag on his head, currently running in the 25th position. So some of these guys towards the back of the pack, but let's see what we're missing up front right now. Pat Gitter still leading down, but here comes John Delaney with a drafting push of sorts from Carl Dodson. They're going to come right down that front straightaway. Delaney's going to get right to the back bumper of Gitter. Now, where is he going to go with it? He doesn't want to go to the inside. He wants to go to the outside. And on these newer tires, Gitter is going to go to the bottom and kind of block the run. As you can see on the top of the shot there, Kevin Steele in the Rainbow-esque machine dropping back now outside the top 10 or very close to it. Is he in that 7 machine? But here comes Delaney, kind of running a little bit higher on entry. Thought he was going to cut, but look at Dodson trying to get to the right rear quarter panel of Delaney, as Delaney's going to try to get to the inside of Gitter there. Nearly a 3-wide battle for the lead. But Dodson with the push to Gitter there, going to push Delaney back as here comes Ashton Crowder trying to get to the outside of Delaney. He's going to run that outside lane with Dalton Mobley right behind him off of 2. Again, Delaney kind of getting in the sucker hole on the bottom. He will get back in line, but the 51 of Jason Baker, he's up there as we may have another battle for the lead. The telemetry got really close there for a brief moment. Dodson got really low, kind of hit the paint there, washed up the track, slowed him up. Allowed Delaney to get right to that back bumper one more time. You can see what are they going to do with it. Nobody wants to run the bottom in 1 and 2. So they're just staying in line with each other as long as physically possible because they all want to fight for that top lane in 1 and 2. 70 on the inside. That's Don Callio. 70 is actually the 38 machine, so that's what I need to look out for. Don Callio in the 38. Highest we've talked about him thus far, so great run. I mean, really don't think I've said his name once other than the grid, but here he is right in the thick of this lead battle here. Some great racing here at the Auto Club Speedway for the 100% Division 2 Series. Lap number 80 here, so we have surpassed halfway. If all says green, we should finish this race right around midnight Eastern, or about 45 minutes if you're watching this live. That's if we stay green, which we very well may. The thing with these kind of tracks is once you get to that point where it spreads out, which is usually 25, 30 laps, that's where the opportunity for a long green run sets in. But we are so pack-oriented now. It's some hard, aggressive racing. Big dive there from Robert Anderson to the inside of, that's Russell. He will clear for that spot. Now he'll set himself up with Ashton Crowder, who he has a fast car, but he just, every time he gets in a good position, he gets shuffled out of it. Just hasn't been able to retain it. And for you Kevin Steele fans, older tires back to the 20th position. Pat Mouche back to the 26th position. So again, they are hoping for that caution maybe in about between now and probably lap 90 or so. I think that's what they are going to hope for their best opportunity to make something happen in tonight's efforts, but that may or may not work out. Matt Diasani there on top of the racetrack above Alex Princeton there as they're side by side. Adam Benefield, remember he had that damage in one of those earlier incidents on the front straightaway. He is trying to regain some of those spots as he's in the 20th position running on the top of the racetrack. See, the sun is starting to go down. We're not going to enter this one under the lights. We may have a little bit more solar glare to worry about, but you can see through 3 and 4 how much of this track is in shade. Essentially from the midpoint of 3 and 4 on, completely shaded all down this front straightaway. So Barney the flagman, he is going to be in a good spot because he doesn't have that sun in his eyes anymore. And then we head into turns number 1 and 2, and the entry of 1 and 2 is in sunlight, is in shade. All of 1 and 2 now in complete shade. Now, actually, that is due to a cloud. So that is not indicative, but these next couple laps will be a grippy set of laps, just solely because of the fact that we are in cloudy conditions here with that big cloud covering the sun. 26 machine / 23 Austin Story to the inside of Don Callio there. That is for the end of the top 10. Brandon Pierce, look at him. He's had quite the run thus far. You know, he's had... I don't have his details. He didn't load them in for me, but he had a really fast car. Worked his way from, let's check the stat box here, from the 10th position, which doesn't sound like a lot, but worked his way all the way up to nearly going for the lead, but then got caught in an incident, but that car did not get damaged, really. And he's been able to retain some good pace and trying to work his way through this hornet's nest here, which I don't know what else to call it other than a hornet's nest. As who's that on the top of the track? That's Dalton Mobley, who hasn't led a lap yet. That I don't believe Dalton Mobley. Nope, he has not, but he has been up front for the vast majority of this race. But similar to Ashton Crowder, he's been up front the whole race, but hasn't really had the laps led to back the stat up. So when they look on the stat box, they'll say, hey, you were up front the whole race. Or were you? Because we don't have any proof of it. But Ashton Crowder did lead 11 laps, which sounds like a lot, but just doesn't seem it, just due to how the strategies have shifted. But Gitter doing a great job in that 42 / number 21 machine. Do expect this problem to be a little bit more alleviated next week. Again, a lot of number assignments and new people last second. Number request coming in last second that I know admin were quickly trying to process, but I expect a little bit more number matching next week. So we'll look forward to that as we head to, I want to say Las Vegas next week. It's either Las Vegas or Phoenix, one of the two, as we're on our West Coast swing. And then we head to Atlanta soon after that. Contact there between Benefield and Grassi on the entry of the corner. Shades of Johnson and Harvick there with the bump on the entry of the corner. Benefield's going to get the surge on the outside. Grassi's going to give him the space. I'm not sure he was too happy about that. But either way, that was for the 14th spot. Benefield trying to work his way back through. And I'll tell you, Austin Story, we're having some real good comers and goers in this race. And definitely on the comer side is Austin Story, finding himself in the 8th position and really starting to pass some fast cars. Pierce and Anderson working his way on Alex Russell right now, working his way on Baker, Crowder. And look at Jason Taylor in the 41 machine. How much we've talked about him today. Basically zero, 23rd to 4th here, trying to pass our former Saturday Series champion and get himself onto the podium. Is that 41? Again, these track conditions maybe setting some of these guys off here, as this, you know, we are in full shade right now, which is not going to last. You can see the sun off at 2 here. That huge cloud is blocking the sun, so that is a big cloud, and we don't have a lot of wind. Let's check our weather stats here very quickly. Well, a 14-mile-an-hour wind, so actually that cloud should blow off in a matter of a few minutes or so. But in the meantime, these guys are full grip as Delaney's doors dots in there off of turn number 4. But again, these cars are able to deal with that with these kind of carbon bodies to an extent. But Crowder running the top of the track just behind there, and that wall lane, as I wouldn't have thought that it would have came in with the cooler track temps, but you know, the run does not lie. And just look at that surge by the 2 down the back straightaway. And just behind that was Russell trying to follow it. But up front, it looks as though Dodson is really committed to just kind of staying in line. I'm just going to go back, and just as I follow someone new, he hits the wall. Kind of commentator's curse there. William Brown in the 69 into the fence there, just behind Alex Princeton. But I think there's not really a good time to do this, but I like doing it once a race, so we're just going to do it. Let's go ahead and give you the field rundown here at Auto Club. Pat Gitter up front, Carl Dodson in second. John Delaney in third, Ashton Crowder in fourth, Alex Russell in fifth, Jason Taylor in sixth, Austin Story in seventh, Robert Anderson in eighth. You have Jason Baker in ninth, and then Adam Benefiel in 10th. John Broussard running in 11th, Brandon Pierce running in 12th, Mark Paget in 13th, Don Callio in 14th, Leo Bonacasa in 15th, Matt Diasani in 16th, Jeffrey Souza running in the 17th spot, Wayne Grassi in 18th, Alex Princeton in 19th, Tanner Marty in 20th. Then we have William Brown in 21st, Derek Heitman in 22nd, Kyle Ammon in 23rd, Bryson Alexander in 24th, Zach Swicegood in 25th, Kevin Steele 26th, Corey Mott in 27th, Austin Rhodes in 28th, D.L. Lemon in 29th, Lucas Nilges in the 30th spot, and then we have Randy Drumhiller, Ken Ron, Jared Bundy, Cody Bird, Nick Pressey, Daniel Fields, first one a lap down, Chris Ammon, Xander Short, Ryan Samuelson. Then we have Mouche, Mobley, and Baker out of the race. Back up front to our battle, which has kind of single filed out for the moment. But that may not last, and it may just be for a moment, because John Delaney is starting to close in, and they're starting to play. Look at the slicing and dicing with it inches up front. They were filling gaps in with millimeters to spare, and the line difference, no matter what you do, the line differences here at Auto Club, look at the long shot there. All the way to the top of the track, running that line up top was Crowder, and remember, we do have the aero effects up there, so you are getting that little bit of side force up there, which will help a huge push from the 19 to the 41 there with that bump draft. And then you can see on the top of the track on the long shot, Crowder again running the fence, and he's doing it with skill, he's doing it with speed, and he's going to have a good run off of 4, taking it down the front stretch. I don't think he's going to get to Delaney, but he may be able to give him a little bit of a shot here, which will push Delaney towards Gitter. That'll exactly be what happens. Crowder running the fence there. It is, look at the run up there. He is not just doing it for show, he's doing it for speed. And he's going to have a 3-wide battle for the lead there, because Delaney got a good run, but Crowder got a better one. They're going to be 3 wide down the back straightaway into turn number 3 and 4. Crowder, again, running that fence, got a little bit loose up there that time. Delaney to the middle, and Gitter trying to hang on the bottom. Oh, contact between the 19 and the 41. They're all going to save it there. Delaney's going to take the lead. Crowder to second, as everyone's trying to fill in the gaps here and get in line here, heading into turn number 1. Again, it's a matter of time. Crowder's just getting the runs up there. It's a matter of time before A, he hits the wall, or B, he absolutely just mutilates the right front tire doing that. But look at the run he gets. Just surges it all the way up there. We got to go on board. You can see he's right straddling that seam, so he's giving himself about 3 feet of space. Now Delaney's going to get all that time. Ooh, big wiggle. That's where it's going to cost him there. He either burned up the right front, or he was leaning on the right rear, as they're going to be 4 wide. I mean, we've talked about that how many times this evening, 4 wide. It's not even really a talking point at this point. But Crowder's going to be going for the lead, and he's going to go back to 8th now. And then look at Story up there. Story trying to run the fence. He's running that line. He's up there on the fence trying to make something happen, but again, Delaney has that run. Pat Gitter, he lost the lead. Look at him getting it back. He's going to bump draft the back of the 6. Robert Anderson, he dropped to the back, but, let me just work my way up here methodically. No big deal. He gets himself back up here as we're closing in on the century mark, closing in on the final third, the final 100 miles here at the Auto Club Speedway for the 100% Division 2 Series. Snaking down the front straightaway. Who's going high? Who's going low? Anderson's going to go low. Delaney's going to go high. And Gitter's going to split the middle, go right in the center, and we're going to get interrupted by a caution flag. 10 machine of Bryson Alexander. That right front is not configured in an efficient manner, as it is not rolling. So let's go back on replay and figure out what happened. I'm going to take a guess that it was runs that did not that met in the wrong spot here. 10 on the bottom. And someone, or 3 wide. What now we gotta figure out from a better perspective here who that car, that was Samuelson on the top. He got a little bit loose there. Marty may have got into him, but got him loose, came down the track. Marty gets a big hit into the wall, and somebody else there kind of sneaking by. So that's what happens here at Auto Club. The corners are so wide, the lines are so different, that it doesn't take much sometimes for these guys to just meet in the wrong spot on corner exit. But it's going to be interesting now because we were on lap 30. Essentially, everybody was on lap 30 on that run. And for the record, Kevin Steele and I can't remember who it was, Pat Mouche, they did stay on the lead lap. So now I believe they're going to have an extra set of tires in the bank. And Steele was running up there at one point. I think he may not have winning speed, but he has speed that is worth noting. So he should have an extra set of tires in the bank if it does come to it. But everybody coming to the attention of their pit crews here, coming towards lap 99. Kevin Steele and I can't remember who it was. Pat Mouche, they did stay on the lead lap. So now I believe they're going to have an extra set of tires in the bank. And Steele was running up there at one point. I think he may not have winning speed, but he has speed that is worth noting. So he should have an extra set of tires in the bank if it does come to it. Expect 4 tires and fuel from everybody here. I don't see a soul who has remained on the racetrack, so Pace Car is a lonely driver up there, but he will be met by these guys soon as we expect 4 tires and fuel. 2 tires would be a very foolish decision in my opinion, and of course nobody does do that. Looks like Gitter in the 42 going to get out of the pits first. And as we get ourselves situated, we had about a lap and a half pacing. Going to take another quick side-by-side here, recoup, grab a drink, and rest up for the final third. So please stay with us. Getting ready here for a restart at the century mark here after we saw that great bit of racing interrupted by that caution, but everybody's going to be on fresh tires, and be interesting to see what happens as we do close in on the remainder of this race, because we're at a spot now where that was not intentional. We're at a spot right now where everybody is going to be on fresh tires, and I'm pretty sure everybody is going to need one more stop, because I don't think anybody can go 50 laps on fuel. So the green flag's back in the air, so we'll see how this does play out. as Gitter's going to get a pretty good advantage right off the get-go here. Russell in second. Anderson in third. Benefiel in fourth. Now, John Delaney, trying to figure out what happened to him because he was right up there. He may have had a pit road speeding penalty or something. Oh, actually, John Delaney, he pitted once more, perhaps to top off, I do believe here, just looking at the data compared to his competitors, and he does have about a lap or two less fuel, or rather more fuel than his competitors. So is he thinking fuel mileage? Does he think he can make it, or it's close enough to maybe consider it? So that is something worth noting there. An Auto Club in its sister track at Michigan used to be known back in the pre-stages era to be very fuel mileage oriented races. And I think it doesn't come into effect as much with stage racing, but it still definitely can. As 19, does he put the 23 of Dodson into the fence there off of 4? If not, it looked very much like he did, but they may have missed it by a whisker there. And Dodson's going to try to go right to the top of the track again, and he's going to get the run. He's going to clear the 19, he's going to clear the 5, and he's going to take a stab here at the race lead. We're not going to have that much momentum. That run kind of stalled off, but Dodson's going for it. Now, very early in the run to be going for it. I wonder if he's kind of using too much Dr. Feelgood right now. Here he goes, going right to the top of the track. He's going to have that race lead. Somebody nearly in the fence there. That may have been 51 of Baker. I thought he hit the fence there, but... And look at that 91 machine, highest he's been. That's Leo Bonacasa in the top 5. That's Austin Story in the top 5. Story looking to the outside of Robert Anderson. Anderson's been up front. He went to the back. Now he's back to the front. So good bit of driving here by Austin Story to get himself into the field here and into the potential going for the win. As I do have Zach Swicegood here in the infield care center. I got Zach here currently being scored 37th in the pits with a lot of damage repairs. Zach, what happened to you, and how was the car out there over the course of the race?
Oh, we were fast long run. Definitely had long run speed, but unfortunately got caught up in 2 other incidences. None of my doing. It's a tryout race, so trying to keep my nose clean and going forward. But just a series of unfortunate, great racing. Just great racing. Just a victim of unfortunate circumstances here at high speeds.
Yeah, I know this series, kind of turned. It went from a just kind of get yourself in good spot to go for the big series, and now it's kind of gone to this series kind of means something now. So I know you kind of want to keep yourself in that good standing, like you said, but you have a good speed. You want to take advantage of it. So do you kind of have some good thoughts headed towards next week, which I think is at Las Vegas?
Oh yeah, definitely love 1.5 miles and 2 milers, and sad to see this one's going away, but we'll re-rack and try again next week and try to keep our nose clean again.
All right, man. Well, sorry it worked out. At least you had fun while you were out there. Again, it's been some crazy stuff. I'm having a blast calling it, but we'll see what you can do at Vegas next week.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Meanwhile, we got a side-by-side battle for the lead again. Dodson to the outside, Russell down to the inside, and Dodson's going to hold the lead once more, and that is Gitter trying to side draft off of that was Alex Russell, who's got himself into second now. And then that's the 26 or 23, however you want to look at it, of Austin Story, who is putting on, no pun, quite the story. And what happened to Dodson there? Didn't get a good run off of 2 at all that time, and he's going to go drop like a fly down the back straightaway here. And I think is that Russell going for the lead? Yes, it is. Russell going to the inside of Gitter here. Look at in the back of the shot there. That's Jason Baker going all the way to running the wall, trying to go 3-4 wide, however many wide it is. He's going to get right to the back bumper of Broussard. They're going to go tandem draft down the front straightaway here, try to get Broussard to the top of Austin Story. Not going to be able to do that, but look at to the inside. That is Leo Bonacasa. He's not been up here all day, but he's making his nose 4th position or 5th position for that 91 machine. So again, talked about comers and goers, and really coming into effect because Alexander Russell, he's been top 5 car, top 7 car all race. Now he's in the lead. Austin Story, he's going for the lead. I mean, how many times has he heard the "I'm making a story" pun? He's doing it. But we are hearing that, you know, we talked about fuel mileage, 50 laps to go. We saw some topping off. We are seeing, well, hearing that some guys are starting to pedal back and clutch it. So what we're going to do is switch our ticker over to lap times, and you'll be able to see directly big variances and dots in there. You can see the big difference there, 41, basically a second slower. Let's go on board with him. Turned it up just a little bit there, tried to see, because he ran such a slower lap last time by. But definitely rolling it a lot more. Sun looks like it's coming back out here. Oh, I guess not. It's just kind of the glitchy sun that we have on iRacing. Different story there, but just looking at it, you can see the leaders at a 3. You can see Don Collio at an 8 last time by. DL Lemon with an 8. Scrolling through the back of the field here, you can see that there is a variance in times. So of course we have different strategies going on. What guys are going for the short haul, just lead as many laps as you can and see where it ends up, and what guys are going for the fuel game. Now remember, we talked about John Delaney pitting. You can see he last pitted 12 laps ago. He's back in the 24th spot. Now let's compare that to our race leader, Alex Russell, 13 laps. So a lap of extra fuel for John Delaney. A lap is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but when you're racing for fuel mileage, that could be a half gallon, a third of a gallon, whatever it may be on that specific track. So I think that may cause the racing to slowly start to single out as these guys kind of get to assess their fuel situations and start having to race accordingly and making their plan. So Austin Story, he might be cruising because, trying to get some kind of draft and running a little bit less throttle as somebody about to go a lap down. That's Austin Rhodes in the 16 machine. Currently running in 32nd position. But just to, again, reiterate the 100% Cup Series and their Division 2. The Division 2 Series was not always about, and again, I may be completely wrong, but if admin wants to correct me, the Division 2 Series was not always about winning the race. It was not always about, performing well. It was about putting on a good example, showing that you have car control and that you are a quality driver in a bunch of varying racing situations, so that way you could be trusted to be a good driver in the big show on Saturday nights. So that still, as far as I understand, is the primary goal of this series. Now that we are broadcasting it, and I think points will be taken a little bit more seriously. It's kind of taken a separate spin, but the primary goal is still to look good to the big bosses, so that way you can get the green light to race on Saturday night. So you see guys going a lap down. We talked about it with Zach Swicegood. The goal is still to be just a good, safe, competitive driver who, you don't worry about making silly mistakes all the time. I think that's still the goal of the series. So if you see guys go a lap down, remember, you still could see them on Saturdays. Of course, they're going to have to qualify in. We have full fields on Saturday nights with guys going home. So being slow and methodical and safe is one thing, but you may get the clearance to race on Saturdays, but you might not make the show. So a lot of stuff to put into the back burner and consider here amongst this sanction of leagues. But up front, we got Derek Heitman looking to the inside of Leo Bonacasa, who has himself in the 3rd spot, both of which are behind Austin Story, who is right to the back bumper of Alex Russell. So I think definitely fuel mileage is starting to become more of a situation, and tires, of course, are still a situation because everybody does have a different amount of sets left. Some drivers may have already exhausted all of their sets because we have some of the pit data here. We'll bring it up, I believe. So now it says 5. So Jason Baker, for example, he has been in the pits 5 times. What I don't know is, I think that was William Baker, I believe, in the fence. William Brown, excuse me. What we don't know is that 5 times on pit road, he may not have changed tires all 5 times. All we know is that he's been in the pits 5 times. So there may be a fuel only. He may have changed all of his tires. He may have done fuel only, but he would be in the worst tires position based on the knowledge we have available. And I think Ashton Crowder may be in that same position. So we don't know, but we also don't know if we're going to get a caution. We don't know if we're going to have green flag stops. We haven't had green flag stops tonight, which for an auto club race is very rare. But again, the racing we've had, and as we'll bring up our race recap. 13 lead changes in this race, 7 cautions for 21 laps, but we got 13 lead changes, and those are official at the line. Those are not, you know, at mid-lap sectors, because if we did count that, we would have significantly more, again, with the racing we've had thus far. We started the race with, I think, a 91-degree track temp, if memory does serve. We're down to 68 now, so that just shows as the sun goes down. Track is almost in full shade. Again, you'll see some weird little spots on the front straightaway. That's just lighting issues with iRacing. That's kind of weird, but overall, the most of the track is in shade, so we're going to have more grip out there than we've had, which is higher speeds. Higher speeds, what does that mean? That means you're on throttle more. That means you're going faster, which at a fuel mileage race, that is the last thing you want, is going faster when you're trying to save fuel. So just kind of the racer's situation there. Mark Paget passing Carl Dodson, who may be in super fuel mode there, dropping on the way back. Paget was involved in at least one incident. But again, these next-gen cars, at least in their current modeling on the iRacing service, are basically tanks. That should be changing upon the March build, because a lot of the cars with this new damage model, they were tanks, and iRacing fixed them appropriately, but they didn't get to the next-gen car, so one would assume it would be patched in the next build and probably a lot more susceptible to damage in a few weeks. But I think some of these drivers are appreciating the tank that it is. You know, we've seen a lot of dooring on the straightaways, dooring in the corners. We've seen a lot of incidents, and drivers in said incidents still having great runs. So again, that is what happens. Again, want to thank everybody for tuning in to PTR TV. So if you like what you see, of course, hit the like and subscribe button. Bringing a lot of new content we'll be bringing on Friday nights for the foreseeable future. We'll be bringing you this Division 2 Cup Series. For the 100% Cup Series, we'll be bringing you the SSRL on Monday nights, which is a very similar series to this. You'll actually see a little bit of driver carryover into that, into the SSRL. Although, of course, we have the Red Sox Racing League for your road racing fun on Thursday nights there, as the 10 machine, it was into the wall. Now, the 10 machine I don't think actually is the 10 machine. I'm trying to make out who that was. Of which I am not able to do in the moment. But we will digress from that. Alexander, that is, based on Bryson Alexander, who is in the 33rd position at the moment. But let's go back up front where things have tightened up. Derek Heitman has taken the lead. Off Alexander Russell back to third. Again, can't take this literally, can't take this as speed, because everybody is in fuel saving mode now. Let's, again, we'll bring up the lap times on the ticker, switch over the gaps. 41.1 for Heitman. Austin Story at a 4, so he's running 3/10 slower. You can see there on the bottom in 15th spot, Robert Anderson, he's back at a 6. John Delaney, who was one of the first ones to start this trend, he ran a 45. We have William Brown, one of the slowest last time by, at a 41.8. And you can see here, direct comparison, he's running 7/10 slower. We know Brown was up front. He was battling with these guys for a good portion of the race, so for him, that is not a speed variance there. That is purely a matter of fuel. Story running all the way out of the top of the track and off a 2. But this also brings in a very interesting position to be in, and one that as a crew, I know some of these guys have their teams affiliated with them and working with them as strategists. Other drivers are just doing this solo, and you got to just figure it out yourself. But if you know that you are not going to make it, and you know there is no chance you are going to make it, when do you pit? Do you wait till the last moment so that way you can ensure you're not bit by a caution? That's the safest route. It may not gain you spots, but it's the safest route. Or do you short pit? Do you come in now? Actually, and if you do pit, do you just fuel only? Do you take 2 tires? Do you pit now, put 4 tires on, and act like Superman with a 1.5 in the tank and just start ellipsing everybody? I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because we're only so far off by about 1.5 off our best laps. And best laps, we'll bring it up for Derek Heitman. Best lap on the day of 40.15. Last lap of 41. So I don't know if short pitting you're going to gain enough time, because if these guys pit later and later towards the end of this race, it may just be a fuel only, a splash and go, or at most a 2-tire stop. So it really, there are just so many variables that could come into play right now, and I think we have the first biter on the pit road. It's Alex Russell into the pits, and he was running in the top 10. So let's see what he chooses to do, because this could very well change a lot of dynamics here. I talked about, do you go 4 and fuel and pit early? Well, apparently somebody was listening to me, because that's exactly what he did. So if you're listening to the broadcast and you thought that was a good idea because that's what I said, I take no account if it doesn't work. But if it does work, I want all the credit. So that's where we stand with that. And let's see, Kyle Ammon. He is up to 12. He just made a pass, but Austin Story up front. And let's try to see. I think we have more takers coming down into the pits right now. That's Derek Heitman in the pits, Pat Gitter in the pits. Behind that, that's Mark Paget, Matt Diasani in the pit. So everybody is going for the earlier pit. Austin Story stays on the track. But what about John Delaney? Remember, he topped off. What about some of these guys that have been backing the pace down? Did they back down the pace enough? Because the worst thing that you could have done as a driver, or as a team for that matter, is purposely run slow to save fuel and then still come into the pits. Because what does that mean? That means you purposely ran slow for absolutely no reason. So I think if you did make your bed, as we do have more stop, Princeton, Broussard, Crowder. So I think, oh, who was that? That was Austin Story, slightly overshot his pit box there. But I think we're putting ourselves in a window right now where you almost have to pit. Looks like Don Callio thought he was going to pit because he ran low. And here comes everybody exiting the pits. Adam Benefiel coming to the attention of his crew here, closing in on 20 laps to go. And it looks as though here from the Auto Club Speedway that the lights have turned on. Much to my surprise, I didn't think we were going to get this late into the evening. But the lights have turned on here. I'm not sure where we stand. I don't have a virtual clock here, so I don't know where we stand virtual standard time right now, but clearly late enough that we will be getting some illumination from the Musco lighting here at the Auto Club Speedway. But Jason Baker has taken the lead here, and we are at a point right now where we have 15 drivers, last one being Christopher Hammond, 15 drivers who have yet to pit, those of which being, and we'll bring up the stint graphic, Baker, Ammon, Anderson, Dodson, Collier, Delaney, Taylor, Brown, Drumhiller, and Grassi. And then finishing it out, we have Mott, Steele, Nilges, Bundy, and Hammond. Everybody else, Adam Benefiel actually being scored as the first one. And we'll switch the graphic over to explain that one. And you can see a 6.7 second pit stop. So that would either be fuel only or potentially 2 tires for Adam Benefiel. I'm not sure how that's going to work out in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, sometimes you just have to make the call. And was that Benefiel into the wall there off of 4? Let's quickly check that on replay, because I'm pretty sure he just made some contact with the safer barrier off of 4 here. I'll go on board with his roof cam. And Adam Benefiel on screen right now. Yep, he met himself some steel safer barrier there, or whatever material it's made out of. And Lucas Nilges in the, well, scored as 28 car. He's in the pits right now. And 17 laps to go in this race, and ultimately we're waiting for the inevitable. Is it going to run green? Are we going to pit? Are we going to stay out? But let's get a grasp of gaps right now. And I think you may be able to see it on the left side of your screen once the ticker switches over. But going back to the first car on tires, which is now Derek Heitman in the 14 spot. He is currently being scored 30 seconds off of the race lead right now. So 30 seconds he would need to gain in 15 laps. And Jason Baker's running about a second and a half slower. So a second and a half times 15. Someone do the math. I don't think it's 30. It might be. I'm not sure. 1.5 times 15. Someone do the math. Tell me if it equals 30 seconds. But last time by, 28 seconds back. So I don't know if he's going to get there on pace. I don't think he will, because his pace will start to degrade as well over the next 15 or so laps. But Kyle Ammon is actually going for the race lead right now in the 25. Haven't talked about him at all here this evening. Haven't talked about Kyle Ammon at all. And here he comes, independent, not running on any team thus far, but I would want to run on, if he's going to be in this spot right now, I would want to run with him. Kyle Ammon to the lead with 15 to go, but again, the million-dollar question that we don't have an answer to is, does he have enough fuel? So we'll find out that answer in the next approximately 10 minutes of elapsed time. Up by a second over Baker. Carl Dodson running in third. Remember, Dodson has led many laps here this evening. Numerically, that being 32. So he'd be one of the top leaders on the evening. Don Callio in fourth. Still seeing if there's anybody else who peels off. Currently not. We have 12 that are currently on track. So Derek Heitman now 25 seconds left. So I don't know if anybody at home did that math for me, but I don't. The answer is no, it will not be enough. So right now, Heitman's exiting 4. Corey Mott is in 1, and Corey Mott is the first driver that he would be passing to pass the older tire drivers. So Heitman's definitely going to need a lot more help to get there, and Kyle Ammon is in a spot where he's up by 2 seconds now, so he's currently running 41.7. Again, we'll switch over, probably the most I've ever done this, but 41.7. Look at Baker slowed down to a 42.5. And then you can see on the bottom there a 42.24, a 40.24. So a significantly faster lap for Heitman, but I just don't think the time is going to work out. But Baker is in just super slow down mode right now. But what that means for Kyle Ammon is he has the time in the bank that he can slow down. But the only problem is if you slow down too much, then you're letting Heitman close in even more. So you have to keep a steady gap, not waste too much time, not waste too much fuel pulling away. Don't use more fuel than you need to by letting your competitors fall too far back, but at the same time keeping the guys behind you that you need to keep behind you. Can you handle all that? Because that's what Kyle Ammon is trying to do now. Manage that specific gap that he needs to hit while also running fast enough, while also saving enough fuel. We have some racing going on. Latter end of the top 10, we have a gaggle of vehicles. Randy Drumhiller, remember, he hasn't really been up front at all. He's been tail end, but he's on that fuel strategy. He's in the top 10 right now, trying to hang on. Currently having a battle with John Delaney, who I think John Delaney, even though he did make that stop and has a lot more fuel, he is just an ultra fuel save mode. Because he's letting basically fall into the tail end of drivers who are on this stay out strategy. And I'm trying to look here. He only has about 13 seconds of buffer even over Derek Heitman. So basically the position that we're in right now that I have to wonder is how close is this? Are they completely far off? Is this, maybe you're going to save a quarter of a lap, half a lap? Are they far off and they're really, trying to pull it, a really, really distant goal here? We just don't know. We really haven't had a green flag run. We haven't had green flag stops to where we could calibrate our knowledge as to what these guys are capable of. So back in the day, it used to be 50 laps here at Auto Club, all through the 90s, early 2000s. But it's become more like 45 laps in my time. But I also haven't been in the NextGen car as a driver as much as I would have normally liked to. So I personally don't know. But if you're going to stay out this long, obviously staying out 44 laps with 8 more to go, you obviously have some confidence in what you're able to do. So Heitman now 18 seconds back. So your top, really, I would say your top 8, top 7, probably safe of getting surpassed by Heitman, but never can be too sure. Drumhiller gets himself into 6. Kevin Steele, remember he was up front earlier in tonight's efforts, led 5 laps earlier in the race. He finds himself now in the top 5. Jason Baker, remember he was up front. Dodson has led many laps. Don Collio, he's been up and down, but finds himself. And Wayne Grassi, one of those guys up front, and he has come in. Now, did he know he didn't save enough? Or is this the trend that now everybody was waiting on a caution, now they didn't get it, and now everybody has to pit? This is really what we don't know, that I don't know. Does everybody need to pit and they're just waiting on a caution? Or are they actually genuinely going to try to make it? If you're in chat and you have some kind of insight into this as to what the potential strategy could be, again, feel free to let me know, because this is genuinely, I'm kind of grasping at straws here with what I know and what I would expect. We'd be going 51 laps of green. to make this all the way. There goes Grassy exiting the pits. Haven't seen anybody else. Dodson, Steele, Baker, Drumhiller, Brown, Delaney, Taylor. Who else do we got? We got Anderson. And then our last driver would be Corey Mott. Those would be our 11 drivers who are remaining on circuit as we close in on 5 laps to go. 5.5 laps here. 11 miles to go as we're midway down the back straightaway for Kyle Ammon in the days gone by Camaro ZL1. Let's see what he does, or is there going to be a break to the left off one of these corners? Kyle Ammon to the pits. So is this going to be the general consensus? Does everybody have to pit? Were they going for the last second yellow? That didn't happen. I'm really starting to believe that is the situation. And if it is indeed the case, let's just take a scope of what the battle for the win would be if everybody doesn't make it. Heitman and Gitter right on each other's tail. There goes Anderson and Matt Diasani. So worst case scenario, if these guys don't make it, we have 4 cars under a blanket here for the race lead, or potential race lead. But we got, so far, we still have 9 drivers up front who have yet to pit, and we head down to 4 laps to go in this race, trying to figure out what's going to happen here. I got Daniel Fields in the infield care center. I don't know if you want to call these last few laps with me, man. Do you know anything about this fuel mileage game we got going on?
But I'm pulling up the stream right now. I was exactly 0.3 miles short before I pitted to try and make a thing happen. So we're going to have 6 to 8 people who I know have to pit to get the lap 150, unless somebody like Kyle Steele has been sitting back, waiting to get to the end. And that's something Kevin would absolutely do, so I would not be shocked and surprised.
Yeah, so we have a lot. I mean, you're free to stay up here with me, man. I usually, the infield care center interviews, but we got a lot going on, so you're free to stay up here. But Don Callio up front right now, and Randy Drumhiller, he's boarding. He's coming to the pits. 3 laps to go. So Callio up front, Dodson in second, Delaney in third. First in fuel is Derek Heitman in the 7th spot. He's 10 seconds off. So Don Callio has 8 seconds to play with and 4.5 miles to try to pull this one off.
6 of Delaney and the 5 of Anderson. Oh, Anderson. Yeah, Anderson are both good on fuel. I know Drumhiller's going to have to pull in right now. I don't think that Crowder or Story can make it either, because they pulled up before I did. I know I was short on fuel. So if they go, they must have saved super, super hard and looked for a little sniff of the draft, or they're just saying YOLO and waiting for that white flag to come out. Right now, I honest to God, I think it's going to be Dodson or Delaney taking that checkered flag.
Yeah, remember Delaney did top off. We caught that on the telemetry. He did top off, but Callio up front, he has 4 seconds on Dodson and another 3 seconds on Delaney, but he may be slow and pulling to the left here. Is he coming to the pits on the white flag lap? I think he may. Nope, he just ran the super low line here. Kevin Steele already pit. He's coming by here. Don Callio taking the white flag lap, and he has 3.5 seconds in the bank.
So 3 seconds can be really hard to catch up here in California. I don't think it's going to happen unless Dodson runs out of fuel in 3 to 4 here. He's got that win, bro. That's it.
Yeah, let's see what happens. 3.5 seconds. He can back off quite a bit, and coming down the back straightaway for the final time in the Division 2 Cup Series race here at Auto Club. The 300-miler came down to a classic 2-mile racetrack fuel mileage race, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. He's got 3.5, almost 4 seconds in the back. He can run out and coast from here. The number 38, Don Callio, if I'm saying his name right, he's going to come on fuel mileage and win the race here at Auto Club.
What a lap. What a lap. He was running on fumes, too. He put that pedal down. He got there. He said to hell with tires. He got there in the end. That's all that matters. Good stuff.
Carl Dodson with the second here, and Robert Anderson up in third, Delaney, and then Heitman on the fuel run with the fresh tires gets a 5th. So I don't know if you had any things you want to add based on your race or what you just saw, man. You kind of had a pseudo booth run there for the final 3 laps.
No, all good, man. I ran like poop. I took a really aggressive tire strategy after I saw those early cautions come out. It came back to bite me in the behind. I'd never driven with probably 85% of this field before. I'm coming from Division 1. So I thought I could go out there, get in front, stay in front. It just didn't happen. Some of these guys are quick as all hell. No complaints, no whining. We'll get out there next week and we'll try it again, man. These guys are awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Good people.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for joining me there and giving me that insight.
Yep, have a good one, bro. Good luck.
All right, so now Don is gonna, let's see if he burns it down for us on the front straightaway here, what he chooses to do. Looks like he's just gonna stay there and enjoy the scenery. Maybe he's virtually getting out of the car and going ahead and climbing the fence for the fans. You never know that. But let's go ahead here and wrap things up with our final results here tonight from the Auto Club Speedway. Don Collio with that win. Carl Dodson with the second, Robert Anderson with the third, John Delaney with the fourth, and the first person to pit, Derek Heitman with the fifth, Pat Gitter in sixth, Alex Russell in seventh, Matt Diasani, Ashton Crowder, and Austin Story round out the top 10. Our second page of results here, John Broussard, Mark Padgett, Jason Baker, Leo Bonacasa, he was up there at the end, Alex Princeton. Remember Adam Benefiel had that amazing first stage. Kyle Lama was up there, had to pit. DL Lemon with an 18th. Jeffrey Souza had a good run for a lot of the race as well. Lucas Nilges in the 20th spot. And then Kevin Steele, he was up there. Basically everybody, so many of the field had good runs at some point or another, just got shuffled around. Steele 21st, Taylor 22nd, Randy Drumhiller, he had a pit there in 23rd, William Brown, Corey Mott, Nick Pressey, Jared Bundy, Chris Hammond, Wayne Grassi, Ryan Samuelson, he was up there in the early stages of the race. And then this is the final page, Bryson Alexander, Austin Rhodes, Brandon Pierce had a great first stage as well till some issues. Dan Field, we just talked to him. Ken Ron, Xander Short was up there, Zach Swicegood, Tanner Marty, Cody Bird, the Birdman, and Dalton Mobley, and then the final two drivers, Mouche and Baker. So let's see, let's head right to Victory Circle. I don't see any reason why not to. And let's talk to our race winner. We got our race winner, Don Callio. Don, you got a copy, my friend?
Yes, sir.
What a thriller of a race here at the Auto Club Speedway. I mean, I don't know how stressful for if you were down to the number there or what, but you ended up staying out there. You had a good buffer over second, and you pull it off on the strategy call, man. Talk about your night.
Well, you're right. We finished with about a half a gallon left. Couldn't even make it around to do a burnout, but started in the back and just kind of took my time the whole night. And that last caution came out with 50 to go, and I was about a half a gallon shy and just waited. And before long, started to pan out. I didn't know if the leader was going to pit there at the end or not, but he ended up doing it, and I knew we were going to make it from there. Legacy guys built a great car, and it was a hell of a fun night race.
Yeah, and it was certainly fun to watch, man. And overall, I mean, it was just, there was so many comers and goers and guys on, running the top, running the bottom, and, all that good stuff. We saw you make some good surges in the middle of the race. Overall, what was the racing like? How much fun was it in the driver's seat tonight?
Oh, it was a ball. Everybody gave a lot of room. A lot of 3 wide, some 4 wide. A lot of people, like you said, coming and going. It was just fun to race tonight.
And that's all that matters in the end. That's why we're here doing this business. And any shout outs you want to give for your victory lane effort tonight?
No, Boyd Hogan, he just spent a lot of time on this car. And everybody at Legacy, and working with me every week to get my driving down, and they give me good cars, and it's just been a ball.
All right, we'll see if you can go back to back on the West Coast swing next week at Vegas, man. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
And now we got second place, Carl Dodson. Carl, you were up front for a ton of this race, whether it was leading, whether it was coming from second, fourth, fifth, going from 10th to first. Everybody was just everywhere. And ultimately it came back down to a classic Auto Club and fuel mileage race. How close was it on the end for you, and what was it like kind of watching that gauge go down to the end of the race?
Yeah, it was really a long week. This number 523, whatever numbers are supplied to me this week. EPI Chevy with Trust Me Vodka on it. The guys over at EPI built a great car. We've been working on it all week. Messed up at Daytona, didn't make Daytona, so we're going to start the season from behind. So Derek, Randy, Matt, and Conti and all over there have been working on the setup all week long, and it really came alive. I had to conserve a lot of fuel there at the end because that's one thing I don't have a lot of is patience. I'm learning patience. Patience. You got to have patience. So I'm looking forward to getting some vodka in me, and we'll see what happens after the race.
I'm 23 years into sim racing, man. I still don't know what patience is, so whether it comes, it comes. But you gave it a second tonight. Overall, what was it like, though, man? Like I said, you were in different lanes. I mean, what more could you ask for out of a race? Comers and goers, tight racing, going up and down, bump drafting, dooring each other in the corners. Just a night of aggressive and fun racing. That's what it was to me, man. What was that? What it was like in the driver's seat?
Yeah, tracks like this that have the character and the bumps and the different lines are going away. They keep repaving it, and then it turns into cookie cutters where everybody's following the leader. You had a lot of grooves to different pass people and make approaches, and the way you attack the corner to try to make positions up. It's really one of those tracks that you have to be a driver. You have to be real good and skilled, and I'm lucky to surround myself with a bunch of good guys over at EPI that are helping me get better each day.
Yep, and most certainly you did, man. And we'll see what happens to you at Vegas next week. And I think it's Vegas, Phoenix, one of the two of them. If it's not one, it's the other. There we go, even better. But any shout outs you want to give for your second place effort tonight, man?
Just like I said before, Trust Me Vodka, EPI Racing, and all the guys over there. Conti's Team Conti provided us with a great car today, and I'm looking forward for tomorrow night.
All right, and I'll be with you on the other channel watching next week, tomorrow night, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
And now we have our third place finisher, Bobby Anderson, in that 5 machine. What a run, man. I was just, you kind of had a similar run to Carl there. You were up front, you were battling for the lead, you were falling back to back into the top 5, you work your way back up, you fall to the back, you work your way up front, and then it turns into a fuel mileage battle, man. Just kind of talk about the drama of the race and running it on fumes to the end.
Yeah, it was a great car. I'm glad I ran it tonight. It was really the first race laps I've had, so good practice for tomorrow night. It's got good speed, and then of course, like you said, that caution came out at practically the worst time. For a minute there, I was like, no, I'm going to run this in 225 lap stints, but I kind of just sucked it up and just worked it out. It was going super slow, but fortunately, was able to beat a few pretty good drivers tonight and come up with the third place, so pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and I know you said you learn a lot headed into tomorrow's race, so how much do you really translate over? Obviously half distance tonight, full distance tomorrow. How much do you take out of today and bring it into tomorrow, or do you kind of take it with a clean slate?
Yeah, for me, I take a lot out of it because I haven't run any other races this week, so I've only been in practice sessions. So I kind of got a feel for how hectic it's going to be at the start and what the lines are going to be and kind of the give and take that's going to be needed, and all kind of the recklessness I expect. A few cautions tomorrow night. It'll be quite exciting.
Yeah, it will be the case, and we'll see if you can back up a solid run tonight with another solid run tomorrow. I'll be watching you on 3Wide TV. Any shout-outs you want to give for your podium tonight, man?
I'll just shout out to my team, Matt Long, Taylor Stout, for helping build the set this week. We'll try and go prove our worth tomorrow night.
All right, and we'll be watching, man. Congrats again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, so that is our post-race show here for the 100% Cup Series at the Auto Club Speedway for their Division 2 Series. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Of course, thanks to SimTV for helping with the assets and the overlays and some of the footage, so thanks to them for that. And thanks to all the drivers for putting on a good race. If you like it, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Catch us next week and for the 100% Cup Series Division 2 race at Las Vegas and for our other content here on the channel. But that's Corey signing out of the booth tonight. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.